All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a book called Earth is Not a Pancake by Michael Perlin, and yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this satirical but totally fact-based slap back to reality. It tackles a debate that honestly should have been put to bed centuries ago, but somehow it's back. So let's just get right into the biggest question of all. Right, so the book it kicks right off with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? In 2025, with everything we know, with all the tech we have, why are we still even talking about this? It's a question that really gets to the core of, our whole modern information mess. And here's the book's answer. It's a very modern one. It actually coins this phrase, the great algorithm tragedy. And what it means by that is how these social media platforms, they can create these crazy echo chambers that just amplify conspiracy theories. It's not about people being ignorant in some old-fashioned way. Nope. This is about modern, algorithm-fueled confusion. Okay, so let's get into section 1, the pancake problem. I mean, the title alone tells you everything you need to know about the book's tone, right? This is where it really sets the stage. And you see that tone right away. It's not trying to call anyone dumb. Instead, it's saying, hey, you've been conned harder than a Nigerian prince email scam. It's direct, it's a little cheeky for sure, but the point is, this is meant to be a guide for anyone who's maybe gotten a little lost down an internet rabbit hole, a path back to, observable reality. All right, section 2, proof you can see. So if you're trying to guide people back to reality, where do you even begin? Well, the book starts with proof you don't need some fancy degree to get. It's all about evidence that's right there in front of your eyes. And look, the first point the book makes is huge. This is not a new debate. We're talking solved thousands of years ago. I mean, think about it. Over 2,000 years ago, Eratosthenes figured out the Earth's size with just sticks and shadows. Then you jump to the 1500s. Copernicus says, hey, maybe we orbit the sun. A century later, Galileo uses a telescope, sees moons orbiting Jupiter, and proves not everything revolves around us. The groundwork for this was laid ages ago. But here's the thing. The author says you don't even need to be a historian or an astronomer. The absolute best proof? It's one of the oldest, simplest observations out there. Something literally anyone can go and see for themselves. Just picture this, right? You're at the beach. You watch a ship sail away toward the horizon. At first, you see the whole thing. But then, something interesting happens. The bottom of the ship, the hull, it starts to disappear. And then, finally, the very last thing you see is the top of the mast before it's gone completely. There's a very specific reason it happens in that order. Because what you're seeing isn't just the ship getting blurry or small. As the book puts it so well, the ship doesn't blur, it sinks. The bottom vanishes first because it is physically moving behind the curve of a round Earth. That's it. That's direct visual proof of the curve. Okay, on to section 3, debunking the gotchas. So now that we have that simple visual proof, the book starts tackling all those common questions you see in the comment sections, what the author calls the favorite dumb arguments. And here's probably the number one gotcha you hear. If the Earth is round, why does it look so flat? And you know what? It's an intuitive question. You walk outside, you look around, the ground looks flat. So the book tackles this one head on. The answer is just scale. Pure, simple scale. The Earth is absolutely massive. We're talking over 24,000 miles around. The curve is so gradual, so stretched out, that our tiny little human eyes just can't perceive it from the ground. The author has this perfect analogy for it. He says that's like standing in the middle of Kansas and wondering where the mountains are. It just puts it into perspective, right? You're too close to see the big picture. Okay, here's another one you see all over the internet. It sounds kind of clever at first. Why don't planes just hover in the air and let the Earth rotate underneath them to get to their destination? Well, the book's answer is just simple physics. Inertia. Think about it. When that plane is on the runway, it and you and the air inside it, you're already moving with the Earth's spin at over 1,000 miles an hour. When you take off, you don't just leave that momentum behind. You take it with you. You're part of the system. And all of this brings us to section 4. This is the big one. The force that the book says is the real MVP of this whole discussion, gravity. So what is gravity? The book defines it as this invisible force pulling all mass toward other mass. It's not just why things fall down, it's the glue of the entire universe. And it's the very reason that giant clumps of rock and dust over billions of years pull themselves into the most efficient shape there is, a sphere. And this is where it gets really interesting. On a sphere, like Earth, gravity pulls you toward the center of mass. That means down is always just
toward your feet, no matter where you are in the world. But now imagine a flat disk. Gravity would pull everything toward the center of the disk. So if you were standing out near the edge, you'd feel this constant pull sideways, which, of course, nobody feels.
I mean, gravity is the whole game. As the book says, gravity keeps your feet on the ground. It holds the atmosphere in place. It makes the earth round. It doesn't care what you believe. It just works. It's not an opinion. It's a fundamental force.
So, after all the evidence, all the debunking, where does that leave us? The book's final section, Section 5, is all about that. It calls it Your Reality Survival Kit. And this is so important. The book says that after you escape that rabbit hole, it's not about just finding new people to trust. No, it's about learning to trust a process, the scientific process. Questioning, testing, demanding proof that anyone, anywhere, can check for themselves. And this really becomes your toolkit. It's about trusting the process, right? Real science needs real evidence, stuff you can test and repeat. It's about sharpening your own critical thinking, always asking, where did this info come from? Is there any proof? You gotta know the basics too. Those simple proofs like the ship and the shadows, they're your best friends. And ultimately, it's about choosing evidence over echo chambers, putting what's observable over what's just popular online. And the book leaves us with this final, really powerful thought. The truth doesn't care how many views the video had. It just sits there, quiet, solid, and round. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.